And good morning, One Life. It's Monday, January 16th. You're plugged into the weekly One Life Agent Conference Call. I'm your host, Jeff Bowles. Glad you could be with us. We'll start now with a quick prayer and get right into the call this morning. We have a lot that we want to try to get to, so we'll do that. If you will, bow with me. Lord, we thank you for another week that you've laid out before us. Your word says that steps of a righteous man or woman are ordered of the Lord, and we thank you that you've gone before us, and beyond the plans that we make for ourselves, you have a plan for us, and we're thankful for that. Let us be mindful of that and continue to look to you for guidance throughout the week. We thank you for all that you're doing. We thank you for this organization of One Life. We pray your blessings on it, Lord, as we continue to grow and to move into the new things you have for us here as well. We love you. We thank you for all that you're doing and all that you're going to do. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Now I'll go right away and bounce it to our Director of Marketing, David Hosh, for our marketing update.
All right, just real quick, I just want to cover a couple of things. Obviously we have, you've probably seen the emails coming from me for Destination Dallas, our next academy. Hit your wagon to a star and come on out to Dallas and be part of this big academy. It's going to be fantastic. We've got some great speakers lined up, like Perry Noble, Dave Vibora, Courtney Clemens, and Heath Oakes, all on board. And on the email I've been sending out, I've got some video links, so you can take a few minutes to get to know them before they come out, get to know their story. And I'm super excited about this cast of guest speakers that will be joining us in Dallas, and that's March the 6th through the 8th. There is no expense for this academy. You simply need to get yourself there by way of plane, boat, car, train. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you're in Dallas by 8:30 a.m. on Monday morning, March the 6th. That's when the registration starts at the Hurst, H-U-R-S-T Conference Center in Hurst, Texas. It's not about 10 minutes from DFW Airport. And then we'll end up at noon on Wednesday. All food is paid for except for Tuesday night. We had a high request for a free night, an opportunity to go see the town, go eat where you want to, go eat with who you want to. So Tuesday night is a free night for you to go. We'll wrap up that session at 5 p.m., and then you'll head on out to dinner on your own that night. So we cover the rest of the food, breakfast at the hotels. Obviously, they have hot breakfast, and there's guaranteed rates on the email that I've been sending. If you have not received that email and would like a copy of it, please shoot me a quick email to dhosh, which is DHOSCH, at onelifeamerica.com, and I'll shoot you that detailed itinerary for the academy itself, and also the links to the hotel rooms. Make sure you join our social media. Ted DiBiase Jr.'s brand new Monday Slam is up and available on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. So jump on there and see what Ted had to say today. Actually, he covered the word potential and how to take hard work and drive and turn your potential into performance and production. So jump on there and check out that couple-minute long video. And look forward to seeing everybody in Dallas. We're aiming for 400 attendees. This will be 100-plus more than we've had at any other event. So we're excited about it. It's all 4 trainings: the final expense, federal employee benefit market, the Medicare products training, and sorry, I've completely lost what the other one was. Final expense, federal employee mortgage protection. So we've got mortgage protection there. Sorry about that. I'm going unscripted this morning. So be a part of that. Come, tap into our speakers, and that's really what the slogan, "Pitch Your Wagon to a Star," is. You team up with our top performers, our top managers, and learn from them. So we're excited about having anyone out there and everyone out there. So everybody have a fantastic week.
Now, there's no doubt about it, Dave. Now, you are actually quite a Dak Prescott fan. We were just talking about the game. Is Hitch Your Wagon to Dallas, would that be associated with the Cowboys at all?
None whatsoever. However, Bill and I were talking about the game as well. And, both of us were on the edge of our seats. I think Bill even said he was holding his Dak Prescott rookie card. There was a big article that came out about how there's a lot of new Mississippianites, Mississippians who are now Dallas Cowboy fans. Dak Prescott fans, but now turned into Cowboys. But it looks like they'll be watching the Super Bowl from their own houses now.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the call this morning for that production update. I do have, marketing update. We do not have a production update this week because the reporting has not come in yet for it. So we'll probably have two next week. And also a little housekeeping. We're going to be doing our conference call at 9 o'clock going forward. We mentioned it last week that we would be doing that really soon, and we are going to make that official and move our conference call to 9 a.m. Central Time. I believe that would be 10 a.m. Over in Eastern Time, where we have a lot of our callers as well. And then you can figure, Mountain and out there in California, y'all have a time zone as well. I don't know how many folks we have calling from the West Coast. It's beautiful out there and a lovely place. I've got some friends that live out there. Unfortunately, we don't have too terribly many agents out there just yet, but that I'm sure is coming really soon. So, and that would be the Pacific time zone. I've got help here from our guest for the call this morning. We've already let you know through a few different mediums, most especially our text, and mentioned it last week as well. And I know we've got a number of you that are looking forward to talking with our guest this morning, and that would be Mr. Bill Cole. Bill has been with One Life for 6 years. He originally came to One Life to build an IT direction and an IT team. Over his time here, his role has expanded and evolved. He now serves us as the Vice President and Chief Operations Officer. It's always a privilege to welcome Bill Cole to the call. Bill, thank you for being with us, first of all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Now, it's been quite an undertaking. Of course, we have a new system that we're using for our lead management. We also have other things that is going to entail, including keeping up with production for you and your downline, several other things. It's quite an impressive tool that we have now going forward. I guess to get started, give us a little bit of an update on where we are with it.
Sure.
And we'll go from there.
Be happy to. Thanks again, Jeff and David, for having me on the call. We had wanted this to happen a couple weeks ago, but as we started launching the new system, it made sense to get to a point where we actually had a little bit of traction up underneath us before we said, okay, let's launch this out. And with permission, I'd love to do this ever so often, just to make sure that my personal finger is on the pulse of the agent, just to make sure that it's right there. We launched Agent Core, as many of you know, with our mortgage protection group several months back. Very small in comparison to our final expense. However, that was a good idea to see where we are. We launched our new system to final expense January 2nd. In preparation for that, myself, along with several of my team, were getting things ready, moving carrier appointments, license appointments, and the like, so that all we really had to focus on going forward from January 2nd, at least past the 6-week mark, would be logistical errors. And we'll go through some of those now, but right now we're in week 3 of our 6-week rollout. And when I say 6-week rollout, it doesn't mean that new things are happening inside the 6 weeks. Any implementation, especially one of this magnitude, it'll take 6 weeks before all of us feel comfortable with the solution and system. So we're in week 3, the midway point. We have several things to work on, but Jeff, to your point, I wanted to make sure that I touched base with the agents at large, just to make sure that we're working on the things that we know to be working on. But a lot of good things coming up. Right now we're focusing on 3 things, and only those 3 things. Leads, making sure that the leads are accurate, the lead inventory transferring from one system to the other. I think I've shared this before in conference calls in the past, are 1.1 million. So it's 1.1 million leads transferred from our system to the new system, and we want to make sure that auditing is correct. Second is images. With each of those leads, there is a JPEG image to follow. So somewhere in the neighborhood of about half a terabyte is what we're looking at. That's a lot of bytes, and transferring that over, we want to make sure that is correct. I've heard reports that is not correct. There's some B leads and C leads and some significant A leads that are having what we refer to as a dynamic image. It's a computer-drawn image. I realize that is a problem. That is a priority one. Second priority is PPL, making sure that is correct. And then obviously, as you just touched on, production. And production and PPL, although they are essentially the same for math reasons, I want to separate them out because they can be problematic in their own right. So those three things are what we're primarily focusing on, and once those three things are done, we call phase one done, and then we move forward to the next phase. So that's kind of an overview right there. Yeah.
That sounds good. Well, I know we would like to hit on some FAQs or frequently asked questions. You probably get some of the same questions 100 times over and over. If it's all right with you, what I would like to do is maybe open the floor first. I know some of those frequently asked questions we may get from one of the callers, and it would be specific to their situation. So maybe we could start with that. We've got the settings already adjusted on the call. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, let me. I know three things automatically, and we've got 18 or so people on the call. I know that I'm going to get this 18 times, and it is printing. Printing lead seems to be a very, very big problem. Before the system that we had, Agent Hub, you were able to print it ad hoc at any time, all time. And this particular way we're doing it now, it looks like there's a limitation on how many you can print at one point. And that limitation is 100. We're going to go through it. I'll show you how to get around it, but I'm not going to show you how to get around it easily, at least for right now. But I'll do everything in my power to make sure that I can show you a way to print your leads as fast as you possibly can. But I just want to bring that up because I know that's going to come up.
Sure, absolutely. We'll give you the opportunity now. If you'd like to be a part of the call, we've kind of marketed this call this morning as a Q&A, so we certainly want to open the floor for you. If you have a question, all you have to do is press *6. That will unmute you. Kind of introduce yourself to the call by giving us your name, and then maybe where you work out of. That might be a good idea, where you are in the country, and then you could mention your question. So if you will, please do that now. That's *6, and we'll give a moment for you to ask a question of Bill Cole, our VP and Chief Operations Officer. Again, *6 to unmute your line. And we'll give just another moment here. Again, if you have a question, feel free and enter into the call. *6 will get you unmuted, and again, give us your name, where you're at, and your question. We'll give you just a minute.
Yes, Donald Watts from Shibuya, Mississippi.
Okay. What was your name again?
Donald Watts.
Okay, great. Go ahead with your question.
My question basically, like when the lead has been worked, is it sort of like the old system we can go in and mark it or remove it from the selection of leads that we have?
Yes, sir, Mr. Watts. You absolutely can. If you would like, if you go into My Leads, and every agent should have that capability. If you go into My Leads, you'll see, and I'm going to do this right with you. You'll click on the individual lead that you're talking about, and what you're talking about is dispositioning. I would love for everybody to disposition their leads, but that doesn't always work out in my benefit. But if you look at the statuses, you can change that from new lead as it starts to come to you to whatever it is that you'd like. Either contacted attempt, call again, bad lead, so on and so forth. If you make a sale and actually sell the lead, it will move into your My Clients tab. So you've got 3 tabs at the top: active leads, My Clients, and then dead leads. And it will move into your My Clients tab. If you mark it as bad lead or language problem, not interested, or anything like that, it will go into a dead lead pool until 30 days, and then it will come out of that pool.
Okay.
Did that answer your question, Mr. Watts?
It did. And what was the name of that tab again?
My Leads, sir. click on
My Leads.
You'll see a listing of all the leads that you have there, and then the status tab is what you're referring to.
Status, okay. Okay, and one other question adjacent to that question, if I'm sure when everything is worked out overall for as ordering the lead, that you'll be able to, for as the devices like Android or iPhone, because I was attempting to make an order from my cell phone, but it allowed me to choose the place or the designation I would like to, but it will allow me to actually close out and secure the leads over into my portal.
Really? That's a new one. I'll have to check on that and make sure. You should be able to order any lead as long as you are a career agent. And, yeah, I'll check on that. Any particular place were you trying to order?
Oh, I've secured them over the desktop. It was just I was trying to do it for my cell phone device. Maybe I wasn't clicking on the right deal once I chose just a particular county. I'll just say Clark County. It wasn't letting me actually secure the leads, saying that I did order the lead.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check on that and see. I haven't heard that at all. But that should be working. That feature should be working. But I'll check it and make sure that it works for you. Okay?
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, and thank you for your question. We'll open the floor again. If any of you have any questions, we've got the Vice President and Chief Operations Officer, Bill Cole, on the call with us for a little Q&A. So feel free and ask any questions that you have, particularly pertaining to Agent Core, as we're, 2 weeks out? 2 weeks in, I should say.
Starting our third week.
Starting our third week. So if you have any questions, now is the time. We'll open the floor again. *6. *6. Give your name, where you're at, or where you're working out of, your hometown, or wherever you do business, and then give us your question, if you will. And we'll give just another minute or so. Sometimes it takes a minute. Again, *6 is how you unmute yourself. Again, that's *6. All right. Well, I tell you what, if we do have someone with a question, we're going to open the floor again here in just a minute. We talked about hitting some frequently asked questions, so we'll touch on that now. I'm sure you certainly get, numerous emails that are very redundant, sound very similar to previous ones you've received.
Yeah.
What are some of the main questions you're getting right now, Bill?
Sure. And before I answer, I want to make sure that everybody understands this is a new system for all of us as we start to go through this. So I don't want anybody to think that they're bothering anybody by sending these questions in. My job is to give you a tool that you can use easily to make you guys money. So if you find that it's not easy, then I'm not doing my job. Let me know so that I can change it. There's a couple of questions that have come up past the printing. I realize printing needs to be completely overhauled, but how do I get to see the leads that I just ordered? In my leads, if you guys are familiar with it, you'll see it looks like it's A leads and B leads. It's sorted by lead type. But one real quick way to actually get to the lead orders that you just made, if you go to the tab that actually says lead orders, from there, you'll be able to see your individual leads that you had purchased, your individual orders that you had just made. And at the very, very bottom, you'll see the fulfilled piece. And that actually is a button. So the account that I'm looking on, I see this particular guy has ordered 100 B leads. And so if I click that little 100, now I get to see all 100 of his leads. I can select them all right there and print them all right there. From that point. So I'm going to make that a little clearer as we move on to the next version, but that's something that has come up several times, and once I show somebody that, they're like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. So again, to print the leads that you just ordered, go to lead orders, and then click that actual lead order that you just made, the fulfillment button there at the bottom. There is a couple of reports also where an agent says that it's telling them to enter in a credit card, or it's telling them that they have to pay, or instead of request leads, it says pay for leads. That doesn't mean that we're trying to pull a fast one on the career side. As many of you know, we have lots of brokers in our downline, and we're going to make this system available to them as well. However, there's a little bit of caveats there. One is that they don't get the free stuff; they actually have to pay. So that just means that for whatever reason, we have you categorized as broker. No big deal. Send an email to myself or Adam Stewart, and we will get that corrected as soon as we can. But please do not put a credit card in. Do not do that, because I will not refund that. I'm just kidding. I'll refund that.
And now, for the sake of clarity, we will be having the broker system open up a little further on down the line. Is that correct?
Yeah.
For those that are brokers that might be on the call.
Absolutely. You know, one of the greatest rules in implementation is you don't stack the cart that has a square wheel. So as we start to polish these edges off a little bit, I do not feel comfortable adding more weight right now. We've got mortgage protection on the same system as our final expense free lead guys. As soon as I get a thumbs up from those guys that I've already spoken to, those league leaders, those managers that I've already spoken to, once they give me the thumbs up, yep, everything's good, everything's ready. Not necessarily perfect, but it absolutely works. I sure want to see a couple other things. I got that. Then we'll move on to brokers and showing them how to use the system, because their path is completely different and separate from your path. And once we get that onboarded, then we'll have all of our agency, regardless on what you sell or how you sell it, on one system, which is what the dream has always been.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question, Bill. I know, as you've mentioned, and I've talked to you over the last few weeks, the first few things you wanted to get was the basics, helping people order their leads, be able to print their leads, those types of things. But as we get more and more under our belt and kind of some of the kinks worked out, what are some of the aspects of this new system, again, so we can remind all the agents that it's going to be an even greater benefit to them, this new system?
Yeah, right. Just out of the box, I want to make sure that you can get leads, order leads. That's a no-brainer. Essentially to replace Hub. But the whole reason we replaced Agent Hub was to go a couple of steps above Hub. Those of you that have agencies and want your own downline or have your own downline and you want to manage your downline, this system is catered for that. So once we have everything worked out and Jeff Bowles decides to go off and make his own Bowles team, he will be able to see it from his agent core account. He'll be able to see how many people have come up underneath him, how many people have come up underneath him, ordered leads, what their PPL is. If he wants to manage their leads, he can. If he wants to see what their production is, he can. We are right now waiting on reports that are submitted out weekly. No more. Once the system gets fully implemented, you'll be able to see that right there from your phone. That's the dream. I think those of you who have been here with me for at least almost coming up on 7 years, it has always been the dream to be able to manage an agency from the beach. So you'll be able to see whatever you want to do, whatever you want to see, you'll be able to see it from your iPad or your iPhone or Google phone if that is what you desire. That's a huge one. Secondly would be empowering managers to make managerial decisions. So if you have a problem with an agent and you want to work that problem out, you have the ability to pass your agent a note. You have the ability as an agency manager to mark and flag a particular agent, so they have to contact you to make sure that stays between the two of you guys. Good relationships equal good relationships as far as businesses are concerned, and that's something that we want to also make sure that the managers have that full power to be able to do that without impacting the home office, without contacting the home office. That way, there's a lot less confusion. And then finally, data entry. Those of you who come to the home office, you've seen the feverish attempts, the industrialism of trying to key in apps as they come in, contracts as they come in. Travis Williams, myself, the whole team, agent care team, has been really, really focused like a laser on trying to not have that. Get timely reports, timely information as fast as humanly possible from the carrier without having that tied to any one person, that they have to be chained to a desk to actually key all this stuff in. in 2017 now, it compels me with religious intent to make sure that we have all of this data focused in on one place. And that not only helps us, it also helps the agency, and every other agency that works with One Life America. You'll be able to see where your production is at any moment in time, and that's what we're after. We're after that weapon in this industry that has never been created before, so that you have the ability to make accurate decisions based on timely information.
You speak of Travis and also some of the production reports and things that are a part of this new system.
Yeah.
I guess we can go ahead and we've mentioned it briefly. I had Travis on the call last week as our devotional speaker and just kind of briefly mentioned the fact that he was helping manage the agent care division, which I guess we could take an opportunity now with you being our operations officer, chief operations officer, to go ahead and touch on that a little bit.
Sure.
As most of you know, and you talked with us maybe a few months ago about this new system and what we were looking at starting at the start of the year here. One of those changes was going to be that things were going to change a little bit with agent services, and they were going to evolve in their role, and we were going to be getting our production numbers directly from the carriers. Touch on that a little bit, if you will, and Travis and the entire team, what they'll be doing to assist our agents going forward.
Right. Production entry, as I've talked about just a few seconds ago, we have to kind of start to sidestep that and move away from that. Most all of our carriers do provide some type of report. Now, making that report legible and intelligible, that tends to be a challenge. But the dream is, in the next 30 days or so, to start making those feeds, if you will, tie into our agent core system. So when Jeff Bowles goes out and writes a policy, 24 hours later, we already know. I don't need Jeff to tell me that. It already knows. And that was a huge, if not 90% of what agent services, as everybody else knew it, that's what they did, just keyed in business. And you know, personally, I felt, and after talking with them, they felt the same way. That was a disservice not only to One Life, but also to them as a career. Moving forward, what I want to start doing is agent retention. When agents decide they want to leave, I want to know why. Not to bully them, not to berate them, but to kind of figure out where we went wrong and how we can go and fix it. And I've shared some numbers before, I think internally, that if we were to make a couple of phone calls to a few agents over the last couple of years, it would have changed our our annualized premium to $2 to $5 million. That's worth a couple of phone calls to me. And I want to get agent care directly involved with our agency force at large, and certainly with our agency management force. It is not to take the place of anything. It is not to add management where management doesn't need to be. It really legitimately is training, whatever it is that you need help in. If you need help in trying to get somebody contracted, get somebody onboarded, want to discuss a new thing, you got a big group that you want to take aboard us, you want to try to figure out how that works out, we're going to allow you access to a team builder, if you will, and that's what agent care is going to roll into. In my mind, that's hugely more valuable than data entry.
Absolutely. We will give one last opportunity for you very briefly to ask a question if you'd like to. We're going to open the floor again. All you have to do is press *6. Again, *6 will unmute your line. Give us your name, where you are from or where you work out of, and then also give us your question. And speak as loud and clearly as you can, if you will. Again, *6 will unmute you. And we'll give just a moment for you. All right. Well, with no further questions, do you have any closing statements or anything you want to add, Bill?
No, guys, I really appreciate everybody's patience. I've had nothing but kind words from all of the agents that I've spoken with. I really appreciate the league leaders that have put me in their group meetings. At least for now, I really, really appreciate everybody being very, very patient as we start roll into this. And as I've said before 1,000 times, nobody remembers Windows 1. Maybe a handful of people remembers Windows 2. And that's where we're rolling into now. We're rolling into the 95, Windows 2000 and XP era. So I'm excited, and I know all of my guys are excited. From what I've talked to from the agency force, they're very, very excited. Just hang with us as we start this transitional period.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for being on the call, Bill, and we look forward to having you again maybe in a few weeks or maybe months down the line as we continue to work out the kinks with this new system. We're very excited where we're going. We've got some terrific things in store with now our agent care division, with our new system here that we've rolled out as well. So we're very excited about that. Thank you for being a part of the One Life family. And that's going to wrap us up for the call this week here at One Life. Our home offices, we appreciate you. We're always praying for you. If there's ever anything we can do, as you know, we're only a call away. God bless you. And as always, we hope you have a wonderful week.